get you back out to Palmetto at this point. The American Postal Workers Union is holding a news conference right outside of the U.S. Postal Service facility there. And they're calling for answers. They're demanding answers after the deaths of 4 employees at the Palmetto facility there. I see someone that's speaking. Let's listen in and take this news conference live.
Because all emergencies do not require 911. For example, if you hear that your child was in a serious accident and somebody needs to call into that facility, they need to be able to get a hold of somebody. You're going through a situation, you need to be able to call out. This is not a contract issue, this is common sense issue. And I'm asking for the Postal Service to have a safety policy in action as well as they have on paper. Because if you look at their safety policy on paper, you'll say this is the safest place in the world. It is great. It looks good on paper. But in reality, it is not. We are here to say loud and clear that enough is enough. That we can't afford to lose another life because of the cavalier attitude of the Postal Service. But not only here. The Postal Service is showing a systemic attitude towards safety. Not long ago, we could talk about Detroit, where they found the mechanic mangled in the machine, missing for 8 hours. Chicago, a motor vehicle driver missing for 5 days, and the truck. How can the Postal Service lose somebody for 5 days in the truck? And all we get is excuses. They said they're going to give us an update on the investigation that never comes. So we're asking for an independent investigation because we don't want the Postal Service to investigate themselves. We want them to look into the practices where I'm hearing that even when emergency services is called, the Postal Service like to say it took them 10 minutes to get here. It took them 12 minutes to get here. But what they're not telling me is how long did it take the call to be made from the time that the employee was in trauma? They don't have no answers to that. They're telling them they're not allowed to call 911. That's nonsense. And they have changed. We've had 4 deaths, and they've had 3 plant managers. They keep changing leadership instead of fixing the situation. Enough is enough. I'm hearing some good reports that the new plant manager is starting to work with us and putting some things in there, but it's not enough. It's not enough. We want you to stop talking the talk and start walking the walk and protect these employees. These employees are in fear for their safety. They're scared to put in safety reports because of the intimidation in this facility. This has got to stop. So I'm out here today in support of these workers to send a message loud and clear. Help. Help. We're asking for a congressional investigation into what's going on here. We're asking for an emergency action plan to be put openly and into place. We're asking for appropriate postal police, not security guards, because postal police are trained in CPR and they're trained in how to use the defibrillators. Their private security doesn't have that training. So even if they get there, what they was instructed to call, the private security to get there to do what? If you're not trained to help. We need you to put things into place that will help the situation, not just take away blame. Because the Postal Service says, well, those people didn't have a safety accident, they had a health situation. We all know that when you're in trauma, the faster you can get help, the better your chances is for survival. It's insensitive and it's an excuse. At this time, I will bring up the representative for the National Mail Handler Union, Brother Kevin Tavares.
Thanks, Trump. Sure, thanks. Kevin, I hope you got that. Tavares, T-A-B-A-R-U-S, on the National Secretary Treasurer for the National Postal Mail Handlers Union. In this building, we represent over 1,200 mail handlers. So if you mail it, we're the ones that move it. Now, this is a somber time. We've all felt the pain of the loss of a loved one, a family member, a friend, or a co-worker. Hearing when someone we know has passed away, it hurts. Seeing where someone passed away also hurts. it hurts every workday. Seeing it happen hurts even more. So now we must respect the family members of those who have passed on, always keeping them in our thoughts, hearts, and prayers. The Mail Handlers Union and the APW have been working together to ensure the safety and health of all workers here at the Atlanta RPDC are protected. Thankfully, now we got a new plant manager who understands this need for a workplace safety. As such, the following changes have finally been made. There's 26 new phones on the workroom floor that can each dial 911 directly for when there's an emergency on the workroom floor. This is a big building. The building's been divided into 4 different quadrants. So now when there's an emergency response needed, they can be directed by security. The EMTs will know which quadrant where the emergencies are happening. CPR and safety training courses are now being offered to all volunteer employees in the building. And employees for handling those outside emergencies for family members at home have been given 2 emergency numbers. If someone at home is sick or there's an emergency at home, family member at home can call the building here and the message should be getting to them. So we're very grateful for the support of Senator John Ossoff, all members of Congress, and our local leaders, and especially Mayor Teresa Thomas Smith. Thank you very much.
At this time, we'll now have our local leader that directly represents this facility on behalf of APW, Chantrice Flanagan.
My name is Chantrice Flanagan. It's Chantriss. Last name is Flanagan. I'm the vice president for the Atlanta Metro Area Local, which is the local union for the clerks, maintenance, and motor vehicles. As you all can see, it's more than just one union out here. We have the mail handlers as well, because this is something that affects all of us as employees. And we're here just because we don't think that employees should be intimidated when it comes time to call emergency services. They should be able to have all of the resources that they need when emergencies happen. They should have drills here so that employees aren't in the know, because a lot of times we don't know what to do in emergencies. And when emergencies happen, not just employees, but supervisors are non-knowledgeable about what to do and how to react to those situations. In some cases, employees are being told not to help, not to intervene, and we just want more guidance on how to deal with these situations as they occur. Yes, the new plant manager has now begun to meet with us, and he has made sure that those phone services to dial directly to 911 are available, but now we need the reception in the building to be fixed. It's a lot of dead phones throughout the building that need to be fixed, because you never know when you need that service. So we just want to make sure that the postal services know that we need more guidance with safety, and they need to put safety first and help our employees help each other, because at the end of the day, we all are one and we have to work together. Thank you.
At this time, we'll have Palmetto's mayor, who has been dealing with this situation for a while, Teresa Thomas Smith.
Greetings. My name is Teresa Thomas Smith. That's TERESATHOMAS-SMITH. And I have the privilege and the honor of serving as the mayor of the city of Palmetto. But I also have the privilege and the honor of being a union member. And I know what it feels like to have protections in place, people that fought and bled so that other people could be protected. And to be the mayor of a city where that's not happening, it's very disheartening for me, not just as a mayor, but as a human, because basic safety in your workplace is a human right. It should not be where you have to have a union to be forced to do the right thing by other humans. But we find ourselves in that place, and we found ourselves in that place for a very long time because unions have been around for a very long time. But I am here standing in support, again, as a union member, but just as importantly, as the mayor of Palmetto, to let the people know that we are here and we face this with them. I have received the phone calls from employees who have said their PTSD is triggered by the stench of dead animals that haven't been moved and shipped in a timely enough fashion. I've received the calls where people said, we know that we called 911, but nobody showed up, but somebody had to run from the back of the building to the front of the building to get a signal to call 911. I received those calls, and as the mayor, there's not a whole lot I can do. But as a union member, I can tap people that I know and say, we need help. And we've been sounding the alarm because we need help in this building that sits in our city. This is a federal facility. I believe that the city of Palmetto has probably a 5-minute response time because the city's very small. It doesn't take us long to get a lot of places. So when we get a call, we are here and we are on the scene and we are doing the best for the most that we can do. But if we don't get the call, we can't show up. And if they can't get the signals, they can't make the call, so we can't show up. So we see that the culture in the building, and to know that your job is jeopardized because sometimes management, and this is not disparaging to management, but we understand that sometimes management can get in the way of a union member getting all the things they need. And in an economy where you need your job, you're less likely to say anything and continue the culture of silence because you don't want to be terminated. I've got that too. I've got someone that called me who ended up being terminated for making the report. Those things happen, and they happen in real life, and they happen particularly to union members. So to see these unions come together to make a stand to say enough is enough, then I do believe we're at a critical mass that this will have the attention that it needs, it will get the respect that it needs, and the people that have lost their lives in this facility will be vindicated through the action of others. Thank you very much. I don't know if this is the opportunity that
All right, so we've been listening right now to a news conference that's with the American Postal Workers Union, among other union members out there as well. So the whole point of this, they're saying, is that they want answers after there's been 4 deaths at that USPS facility there in Palmetto. They're raising concerns about emergency response times. They're saying communication issues inside the building are taking over out there, and just overall worker safety are what they're raising concerns about as well. So want to do something on the other side of this. We did reach out to the U.S. Postal Service to try to get their comment on the situation in this news conference. Obviously, they sent us a fact sheet that reads in part, the safety and health of every employee in our workforce of 640,000 strong is of paramount importance to the Postal Service. Our organization is deeply committed to providing safe working environments in all facilities to ensure that every employee returns home at the end of each workday. So you can count on us to stay on top of what else is said at that news conference and anything else that we hear from the U.S. Postal Service as well.